So I think we'll start with recruitment. So when it comes to the membership life cycle, recruitment is the first step. And we know that there are different strategies and methods to go about this. And as someone with decades of experience in the association world, Scott, we'd like to know, what are your top 3 key strategies to recruit?
Sure. I like to keep things as simple as possible, and so I think the three key strategies in regards to recruitment are: one, it's not just one touch and you're done. You need to have multi touches within your audience. You need to talk to people or communicate, connect, promote to your prospects, to your potential members multiple times throughout the year. You can't just throw one thing at them and hope that that's going to be the thing that seals the deal and makes them join the association. Two, there really is no one media or one promotional or marketing tool that's going to work for everybody. So you need to try different things. There are so many different ways that you can reach your members these days, whether it's a personal connection or it's a community connection or it's, let's go old school and say direct mail. There's lots of different things that you can do there. And then three, I would say on the recruitment side is you need to do what you need to target as much as possible. Not the same message is not going to reach or resonate with every single prospective member. So as much as you can, you want to send different messages or targeted messages to the different niches or the different buckets within your prospect environment.
Oh yeah, definitely agree on that one. So yes, that's the top 3 is a multi-touch and try to different ways of reaching out to members and then sending different messages. That sounds so simple, but we know that it's a lot of work for associations. Farhad, do you have anything to add to that? Like, do you have a different approach when it comes to recruitment?
No, I think like I agree with everything that Scott said, but I'll kind of like take a different angle on the same comment. So when we're doing that like multi-touch approach, just like Scott said, we have to make sure that we really dial in the messaging, right? So the same announcements, the same message, same ad may not resonate well with everyone. That's why it's very important for you to understand what are the different values, what are the different desires and aspirations your different members have. And I think like really understanding like what members value is very, very important. And whenever you are doing any campaigns, any marketing, I guess like omni-channel marketing, meaning like marketing across multiple channels, whenever you're doing anything like that, you have to make sure that you are really speaking to like what the audience is thinking right now. So say for example, like if I'm very thirsty right now and if someone like offers me a glass of water, that glass of water will be like very valuable for me. But what if I'm not thirsty, right? Then that glass of water has no meaning to me at all. So marketing and like member value is like very similar. Like all members have certain desires, like they have some jobs to be done. They want certain things from their membership overall or in their career. So we really need to understand, and we actually need to document that. Like understanding is not enough. We often think we know, think we understand, but we do not document. And then the ideas and everything gets lost over time. So I think it's very important like for associations to really understand your members and then document them and then share them with the team as well. Share that like those like member values, member priorities across the marketing, sales, and the membership team, so they all know what members are looking for. And also, I think like in recruitment, one thing that is very, very important, and it's very important like for a higher tier membership, smaller memberships are probably easier, relatively easier to sell. I cannot actually say that they are both hard to sell, but a member who has not purchased your membership yet does not truly know what it will be like to be a member, right? So if you can find ways to give them a glimpse, like make them feel what it is like to become a member early on, even before they become a member, if you can show them how the future looks like what the dream is, then I think it becomes much easier to sell the membership. So free trials are very good. So if you want to give them like a 30-day free trial or anything, like any way that they can like know your community better, know your services better, that's one way. Or like if you have free events, so for example, like many of our events are free, and that way our members, our prospects can actually like know what it will be like to work with us and how we approach things. So I think like those early free trials or giving them some glimpses of what it is like to be a member, I think like goes a long way.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you for that. I think For the associations, though, it can be overwhelming when it comes to recruitment. So that how do they know exactly where to reach out to them, what kind of messages to give to their members or to the prospective members, and is there enough or too much communication from the association to the members? I'd like to get your point on that, Scott. Like, what do you think about that?
Um, I think that you need to start with research and or data. That's where you're going to figure out what your different segments are and what your prospective members are comprised of. Right. That's where you're going to do it. So you can either try, which is a complicated thing, and it's not the easiest thing to do, but to try and talk to them, whether it be via survey or some other sort of mechanism to collect that information directly from your prospective members. I say that it's challenging because members in some ways aren't members for a reason. So you're going to have lower response rates. You're not going to get, they're not going to communicate with you as easily as a current member will, who's already bought into your membership, who's already who's already drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak. And so I think that you need to get the information that way. Over communicating, yes and no. I mean, I think that there could definitely be too much communication, but as long as you're sort of pacing it and spreading it out a little bit, I think you're going to be okay. And as long as you're doing it through multiple channels. So I would say really the focus would be more on a campaign. And let me finish what I'm saying, and then I'm going to get the dog out of the room, which is who you guys hear whining, and I'm really sorry about that. He wants to get out. I put him in on purpose, but now he wants to get out, so he's just standing at the door whining. But so I would say focus it on campaigns and then sort of spread it out based on what type of media you're using, what type of tool that you're using, which different marketing mechanisms you're using, because you don't want to, I'll just use an extreme example. If you're just using email only, you don't want to email a prospect like every day or twice a day over a couple of months. It's just going to turn them off. They're never going to join. So you really need to take a look at sort of what you're doing and then spread it out appropriately, and then also see what your reaction is. I mean, you can't really get data. I mean, you can get join data if you're doing direct mail, but you can't really get, but you can't really get any more data than that on a direct mail piece. If you use personalized URLs and some other things, yes, you can. But unless you're tying it to something digitally, it's hard to know what those results are. But when you're doing email or you're using those sort of digital technical devices, you can then see what people are responding to and what they're not, and then you can either ramp up or turn or cut back on different things for your next campaign or for other campaigns. And sorry, guys, I'm going to go away for 1 second to let him out of here so he doesn't drive everybody crazy.
Sure, no worries. And I can probably add to that.
Yes.
So the way we look at it is that associations in general, actually, I find that like they usually have like a hard time with the marketing in general, because associations don't have a big marketing team or a huge marketing budget, unlike like for-profit companies. So for example, like our team, we have a relatively bigger marketing team, right? So associations will probably like by default like not be able to do a lot of marketing, and that is a default. So that's why I would like encourage like not to shy away from any marketing. So if you feel like this is like you have bandwidth for like doing these number of campaigns, go ahead and do it. Like do not hold back, right? Do not hold back. And normally like 1 email per week is fine. Like do not worry about sending 1 email per week. We end up sending like 2 emails per week, and that's even like okay. So think of it this way: most of your emails will be lost, right? Like there is so much email, there's so much noise like in the different channels right now. So your content, most of your content will be lost. So if you send 1 email per week, and then like if you didn't catch the member at the right time, the email has already drowned. 2 days later, if the member didn't open the email has drowned, right? So, but if you do send multiple emails, if you send another email next week, if you missed him the last week, you'll probably like catch him this week, right? So that's why I think it's very important to have like those multiple touch points. So I would encourage you, anyone, like not to shy away from over communicating, because associations actually by default, the majority of associations, they actually under communicate, right? So by default they under communicate. So like do over communicate. And if you over communicate, your members will tell you, you will get pushback. They will tell you, hey, you know what, you're sending too many emails. Hey, sorry, that's like too much communication, right? They will tell you. And then just like what Scott was saying, anytime you feel like you're over communicating, if you can like pace the communication a little. So for example, like as opposed to sending 2 emails this week, maybe schedule the second email for the following week, just like pacing it properly. And in terms of social media and the different channels, what we find in general is that like different age groups are more active in different channels. So you do have to make sure that you are like sharing your content, sharing your like promotion and everything to multiple channels. And it's very difficult to set a one-size-fits-all approach for that, but there are some broad generalization there. For example, like certain age group is more active on Facebook nowadays, and we know that. And people who are looking for professional connections, they're on LinkedIn, right? So the messaging that you will have on Facebook will be slightly different from on LinkedIn. And again, the younger generation, like millennials and Gen Z, they're probably like more active on, say, Instagram, like Twitter, and then also on TikTok. So know that like if you're sharing something on Instagram or on TikTok or on Twitter, know that like you'll probably get like more like millennials and Gen Zers. So if you have younger members, and if you want to attract younger members, and if you're not putting out your content in those like newer channels, then you will actually miss out. The format of content is very important as well. So whenever you're trying to invite younger members to join, and you give them like a 1-hour webinar like this will probably not work out at the very beginning. So you have to like start with like short form teaser content that younger members will connect with better. So that's why like we need to make sure that the channel is important, and then the message, the content of the message is important, but the format of the message, the length, and then like how audiovisual the message is, that is super important as well, because like we are finding that younger members are very much visual learners. So they respond much better to images, videos, animations, right? As opposed to just like regular text. So even infographics are a bit old nowadays, right? So we need to make sure that the content, format, length, like all of that is factored in.